Last time, on whatever this series is called.
The robot and whatever the other one is will be tough. They'll probably make it a little longer still.
But the cook and the professor are done for, if you ask
We have
me.
to take both explosions here and need to heal up again immediately after that. And can they do it? 1, 2, where's the pause? That was not what Golgi Pertiva wanted. Those fuglies, man. Yeah, nobody loves them. They have literally no friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Floor 8 is up, and by now each team has lost at least one team member. And I think it's safe to say that by now this tournament really enters high-speed low drag mode. Absolutely. There's one more thing we are very happy to announce. There will be the opportunity to watch the whole tournament as soon as it's finished, together with everybody else. And more information about that as soon as the tournament is really over. We will be there, and it's going to be awesome. But now let's switch to Josh and Nanor for a quick interview. Nanor, you were in the room with Golgi when that fugly incident happened.
Yeah, those fat frostlegs are no fun. Blowing up is a form of attack. Unbelievable, and such a waste of good meat.
Altruistic autothesis isn't unheard of, my dear Nanor. Did you know that many species of the infraorder Isoptera use it in order to defensively block their nest entrances? In fact, I would love to examine the labial glands of one of those creatures.
What?
Anyways, you still need to find a fourth member for a team.
Why, naturally there are several rather beneficial collaborations to be formed, hypothetically speaking.
Well, but
Mr. Masoki did like to enjoy his fair share of other inflicted wounds, but given the urgent nature of our current situation, it obviously cannot be stressed enough of what utmost importance it is to postpone dealing with any and all arising grief to a later point of this voyage, so to speak.
He never stops. At some point, you just shut your ears and go about your business. The professor is a good man, as long as he isn't in the same room as you.
I do have to say that I feel slightly offended by that statement, dear friend.
Yeah, okay.
now, Nanor, we're quickly running out of time. Anything else you have to say to our audience?
We will make it friends. Every one of these monsters is going to get spatchcocked, brined, and barbecued. And once we have won this tournament, I invite all of you into my reopened restaurant on VLAN 5.
Exquisitely put, and to end it with a quote. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
Okay. Did it have anything to do with anything? I don't know, but it was Shakespeare. Anyway, the teams have already started, and while they spent their dust in the first few rooms, let's talk for a second about what we mentioned a moment ago regarding the opportunity to watch the tournament together. Didn't you just say more about that once the tournament is over? Well, yes, but I was talking about time and place. I feel like we still should explain what to expect. Alright then, there will be a link, and we will make sure that people will be able to find it. Video descriptions, annotations, Facebook, what have you. This link will take anyone who wants to participate to a special chat room where they can watch the complete tournament. And why would anyone want to do that? Well, first off, it's similar to a live stream, so everyone is seeing the same thing at the same time. You can discuss stuff as it happens, cheer for your favorite team, talk about strategy and so on. And secondly, you can bring in your friends, show them a game, meet others to play with multiplayer, or just hang out. And finally, we will be there as well, watching with you, so if you feel like meeting us or are just curious about something, we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. We did go ahead and invite the guys from Amplitude Studios as well, but I wouldn't count on that. We haven't heard anything from them until now, so yeah. Now Raki and Elise have already set up a first choke here, and they are the only ones who have access to improved Tesla turrets already, additionally throwing down some mechanical panels for extra resources. Good stuff. Every little helps, and the dungeon floors are big enough for that kind of technique to pay off already, as long as they don't leave too early. I gotta say, I was a little worried when so many teams were eliminated so early, but by now this is actually already the 4th floor without a team dropping out, and while they do struggle, they are still going. Josh and Nanor met Gorg here a second ago, and if they team up with him, then he is already the 3rd one, 4th one, I'm not even sure. There were so many casualties already. That's true, yeah, but especially Raki and Elise were the ones burning through potential teammates. I mean, there was Gorg, then Sarah, then Ken, and now they have Max, so we will see how long he will last. Right, but on the other hand, there's Yuri as well, and they had no trouble keeping her alive so far, so we will see. And as we are already talking about lost comrades, what about Esoptage and Obbot? I think they only lost one, right? Yep, Maxarcane went down after that infamous level up of Obbot, but apart from that they managed to keep everyone alive so far. And I even feel like Josh makes for a better addition anyway. More wit means more resources, and he's been operating basically all the time since he joined, and he uses the exact same items as Max anyway, so you could almost say they upgraded the team composition this way.
Would you... Oh, do you see that?
Yes, I do. Rocky and Elise seem to realize it too. They have several dark rooms on the same side of the dungeon, and there's a hammerhead in the mix. And normally you just deal with them when they come at you, but this one won't. He's aiming for one of the doors there in the dark, and if they don't act quickly, he will open it.
Yeah, but there's a whole wave of enemies in the way.
They have to decide. They could stay at the choke, but that would mean more enemies and possibly even more open doors, and that can turn into a chain reaction nobody wants to deal with.
Right, and by now all 4 team members have come up here trying to deal with some of the enemies, but they have to hurry if they want to get to that room in time.
Max took some damage here, but now they rush up there, and every second counts. Euleri immediately engages now, Rocky and Elise catch up and open fire, and the hammerhead falls in time. Good reactions there by Rocky and Elise, but still a very dangerous situation.
Yeah, it's hard to tell in what room the hammerhead spawned exactly, but I feel like they got a little lucky here. They took quite a few moments to get up there, and you could see how quickly the door took damage, so I guess it had to walk a short distance before reaching it.
Josh and Nanor in the meantime were struggling a little bit, losing a lot of modules and are starting to run a little low on industry, but they have encountered a merchant as well, and were nice enough to build him his very own shop module, and Josh even helps out operating, and you can see there what a great operator he is in fact.
3 dust per door is quite a lot, and there aren't many operators who manage to go over that 20 wit border.
They still have some catching up to do though. This many dark rooms means constant attacks of up to 4 waves. With a lot of fuglies and blue meanies in the mix, they had to constantly replace destroyed defenses up to now.
And fighting on 2 fronts at the same time complicates things even more.
Exactly, Gork gets a little low there, and with a little low I mean stomped into the ground as the team fails to keep up with the situation, and that is one more blow for an already better team that spent a considerable amount of food on a man who is no more.
Ah, too bad. They had to heal. All it would have taken was a quick pause, but you can almost feel how the constant tension of fending off wave after wave gets into their system as the dungeon starts to really wear them down by now.
And that is something that you have to fight if you want to make it, as the ability to constantly focus is going to play a major role in the outcome of this tournament. If Nanor wants to invite everybody to his new restaurant, fine. He's gotta reach the surface first though.
Dude, you sound like my dad. Uh-oh, Rocky and Elise gotta be careful. They really don't want to let their merchant die to some horned nibblers here.
I don't think they will, but yeah, that's not the best location for the shop here. But they have cleared a huge part of this floor already, so even if they would lose him here, it wouldn't make that much of a difference anymore.
Well, not dust-wise maybe, but if they still want to buy stuff later, then they should better take care of him.
Now during all of that, there are Esceptage and Uppard, and intriguingly, they always seem to look the same whenever we switch over.
Yeah, 3 guys operating and Esceptage dashing from room to room. On the other hand, they did decide to leave the last floor early, and you don't do that without a reason. Maybe they are struggling and we just can't see it.
Well, they seem to hold up just fine, but you're right. And as we can see, there are a lot of damaged modules all over the place. But they will be able to repair in between waves, and constantly having 3 active operators gotta be worth something after all.
Well, 2, Uppard just left his room to take care of some repairs, but I see what you're saying. Now, interestingly, Josh and Nanor just opened the last door of their floor, and I gotta admit, those guys, every time they lose someone, I expect them to die, like, immediately. But they surprise me again, and I love it.
You don't like support-heavy teams, do you?
Well, you know me. Big guns, rat-ta-ta-ta-ta.
You just sounded like a caveman.
Well, maybe. Still, they seem to need a little more time with the merchant of their choice. And Rocky and Elise have in fact lost theirs in the meantime, but by now this could actually be their last door as well.
Not quite, but they looked like they would set up for a leave anyway. But oh, there's another hammerhead in there, and Max realizes it and goes right back in.
And right back out, they gotta hurry. And Euleri comes in, followed by Elise, but Max gets dangerously low there, but the pause goes down. And he lives, but the door is broken down anyway, but it is the exit. So no enemy waves from that door. And the team is able to clean everything up, and hey, what do you know? They even unlocked a new picture for the album, so nice work overall.
Right, and that only leaves Esceptage and Uppard still fighting, but apparently there is a blue spy in the base, and it seems like their defenses are only barely holding off what the dungeon has in store for them, as Josh has to backtrack now to deal with the situation. And in the meantime, there's still a lot of enemies streaming in, but at this point there's mainly crystal pests left, so they should be able to deal with that as well, even though they lost a little more dust there than they would have preferred, I'd imagine.
Definitely, and by now they have decided to leave this floor early as well, so while they set up to do so, Rocky and Elise will go ahead and start already.
Didn't we say that they had cleared the whole floor already?
Yeah, well they have now. Quite a brave move there though, opening 2 doors simultaneously there in the front, but considering the dungeon layout, they Should have been able to pull it off anyway, as they pretty much powered everything that could have posed any real threat after all, so good job.
And Max is still alive. Rocky and Elise, huh? Again, delivering a very impressive performance and are the first ones to secure their place in floor 9.
Next up are Josh and Nanor and Mormish. I mean, Ken and Gork, the big guns, going down one by one, but Mormish, he's hanging in there since when? Floor 3?
Yep, and although they are back to 3 team members yet again, they will also make their way to floor 9. And I know you are quick to count him out, but you have heard Nanor. He sounded very confident after all.
And finally there are Aseptage and Opat, who again decided to leave the floor early, but as we can see the remaining doors open anyway, and that could make the escape a little more difficult as they can't power those rooms anymore now. Nevertheless, when you're surrounded by aggressive aliens, there's always time for a quick sidetrack to the shop, right?
Indeed, and the friendly merchant is happy to present his wares, even though he will most likely die as soon as the trade is finished. But hey, that's a nice piece of armor.
There's something very dark inside of you, you know that?
Well, maybe. Opat is taking his dear time and Josh is still under attack and I think they don't notice, man.
I think you're right, there's still no pause.
Oh boy, that must hurt. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh is down and wow,
dying inside of the elevator with 50 freaking food to spare. I can't even start to comprehend what a throwback that actually is. Dina is healed up now, of course, and they will leave the floor momentarily, but wow, I mean...
Here we can see it one more time, and there's not much to see really because nobody reacted. And goodbye, Josh and Tallow.
That is so big for Aseptage and Opat, and they will have a hard time to find a worthy replacement here. And just think about it, they weren't even able to pick up Josh's equipment, so that is lost as well, and by now they really have a very unpleasant floor 9 ahead of them.
I can certainly agree on that, and we will of course talk to Aseptage and Opat before the next floor starts, but for now let's look at the numbers here.
Right, now the overall focus of our remaining team shifts more and more to food as they try to get a few extra level ups in there, and at some point we can probably expect that to change again when industry becomes the main point of interest in the final stages. Rocky and Elise even throwing down a tactical hut here makes for some variety, but doesn't influence the long-term progression too much.
Regarding research, there are a few new additions here, but what I find most interesting is the difference between Josh and Nanor on the one hand and Rocky and Elise on the other, as Josh and Nanor still deal with everything without having any real weapon tech.
Well, they are heavily relying on support mods instead. Autolock shards, dust field, pepper spray. It seems effective enough if you ask me.
Well, only time will tell, but I gotta say I'm very happy to see not 1 or 2 but 3 teams make it that far, and who knows, they might even make it out.
All 3 of them?
You never know.
Right, now one more thing before we wrap this up. Remember that we are going to watch the whole tournament as a group once it's finished, so stay tuned and show up, because first I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and second I have no idea if and how many people will actually come, and it would really suck to sit there on my own. Do not, under any circumstances, let that happen or I will be bored, and you wouldn't like that, would you? I guess so. Now see ya!